What's good, y'all? My name is Greg Hurt, and I am somebody.
What's up, Greg? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing amazing, honestly. Like I'm just thankful, just grateful, and just moving through life every day, man. Just staying true to my purpose, and yeah, man, just being thankful for everything that's being handed to me, without a doubt.
That's a great way to be doing. you know, I ask everybody this. Most people be like, "I'm good." Next question.
I'm good. Yeah, it's
but
like
you
I'm
gave,
alright.
you gave a great answer.
Yeah,
So tell me, who is Greg Hurt?
man. So Greg Hurt, he's just a person. I always say like I'm just always a person that's always looking to impact the world. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm trying to impact the world with many different things. Storytelling and business with like real estate and all kind of different avenues. I'm just a person who's always looking to create change and live out my truth and yeah, just be that impactful individual. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody who's really just out here to be different and create changes where it's necessary. Those are the things that really drive me with everything that I do. It's just being able to have that impact, a lasting legacy.
So you say you're a storyteller, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you find the most effective ways of telling a story?
Um, I feel like the most effective way of like telling a story is being authentic with the subject that you're trying to tell. Um, I feel really connected and really having that deep connection with what I'm saying, like the story goes a long way. I feel like that's the most effective way with anything that you're doing. You could tell a story being an athlete. Like you go and watch professional athletes, they're telling a story about themselves through the way that they play. You know what I'm saying? You're watching these films and these different programs, these writers and the directors, they're telling the stories in their own perspective, in their own way. You know, you view musical artists, obviously, that's the most common way of telling your own version of a story. So I feel like the most effective way of really being a storyteller is just being authentic and putting your own personal perspective into it, because that's the thing that separates you from everybody, literally.
Yeah, your story is big.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories, what's your story?
Oh, man. My story. Man, how much time you got? I'm just kidding. No, but my story, man. I'm just a young filmmaker. A young. I still consider myself a kid, honestly. Who was his origins was from the east side of Indianapolis, but his family decided to move him out to the west side of Indianapolis and gain a whole new perspective. Somebody who, when growing up, experienced a lot of things in life that shaped his perspective of the world. Who was once a very shy and unconfident person, and sometimes I still am, but going from that to always knowing deep down that I had something that needed to be brought out to the world. So evolving into a person who is just, exuberating the confidence and is looking to just create change with his gifts. Being a storyteller, being a writer, those are the gifts that I feel I've been blessed with. So I've really just been growing and been honing in on those skills, so that way I can create change. Like that's the biggest part of my story. I feel it's just me evolving as a person every few so years. That's really been me.
So in this evolution or this evolving phase of Greg Hurt, what was high school like for you? Would you say that's where you first really just started to figure out who you were? You said you were very shy.
Hmm.
When do you feel like you came out of that shyness and
Right.
became to the Greg that you are today?
Yeah. So I think with me, like getting away from that shyness, I feel it definitely did start a lot later in high school. Really a lot more like once I got to college, but definitely my junior, senior year of high school. I feel once I got the opportunity to be a part of media and be like on the radio, be a part of the radio show that was at our high school, being able to express myself through that, and then later on my senior year being a part of the TV program at our school. I think those are the two things that really showed me that my perspective is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people actually want to hear what I have to say. And leading into my senior year, having my own segment, which at the time I was the only student at Ben Davis to have their own weekly segment. Like having that opportunity to just literally share my own perspective and my own truth with everything, that definitely gave me confidence, like through the roof to know that my perspective matters and what I say can leave a lasting impact on people.
Do you feel like it was a lot of pressure being put on you to have your own show or a weekly segment? Especially you said that that's where your confidence first really started.
Mm-hmm.
You know that old statement, they say pressure builds diamonds. You feel like pressure built a diamond in that situation?
For sure. And what's funny is when I never viewed that as pressure because it was like I actually lived that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you ask LeBron James, like, man, do you feel pressure being the chosen one and being like considered as one of the greatest of all time and doing all these things? And it's like you don't really think about it because you just live it and it's just you. So at that time, I never viewed any of that as pressure. I just viewed it as this is a chance for me to continue to grow as a person. And that's kind of how I view everything. I've been placed in a lot of situations where it's pressure and a lot of people that, were around me, like they folded in some way. But I've always just stayed true to what my vision is and just kind of made it happen. I learned early that I'm actually very good when it comes to having that pressure. For some reason I feel like it actually turns me up and gives me more motivation because it's like it's a doubt against me. And it's like whatever doubt is against me, I just kind of turn that and fuel that to like make it happen. So at that time I didn't necessarily view it as pressure. I just viewed it as a chance for me to showcase what I can do.
So you got that mama mentality, huh?
Yeah, and it's crazy. I didn't even like Kobe when I was a kid. Like,
is Kobe a major influence to you? Now you're telling I didn't even like Kobe when I was a kid.
As a kid, I didn't like Kobe because I was raised like my parents. We from Indianapolis, so my parents always said, "Well, he's the reason why Reggie Miller don't got a championship."
Yeah.
So I was raised to not like him. But as I got older, and especially once he retired, and I started looking into him and viewing, that mentality, viewing his perspective on life, I realized, I'm like, yo, this is a dude that was just, one, he's a great person, and two, this is a dude that really just embodied like what it means to believe in yourself and just be committed to your craft. You know what I'm saying? And once I started getting those perspectives from him, and this was before he passed, like now a lot of people are like big Kobe fanatics, now that he passed, and rest in peace to him and, the rest of the families that were lost in that accident and his daughter as well. Like once he passed, like a lot of people started to learn about how amazing he was, but I was doing research on him and getting insight on him before that. Like I would watch Kobe Bryant's Muse like every week, you know what I'm saying? And getting, so I just watched that like 2 nights ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, yeah, man, like he's later on in my life, I started realizing how impactful he was to me. And it makes me, and also, being a LeBron fan, like, it makes me as a kid wish I appreciated his greatness more.
Who would you say are your major influences in life?
I think my major influences in life, I have 3, and they all represent a side of me. Actually, I have more than that, but the three that I really look into is like Dave Chappelle is one, um, Toni Morrison is another amazing author, um, and then the third is Ryan Coogler, who's a director. Those are the three people that I feel embody me the most with the journey that I'm being on, um, and they have the major impact, a major impact with me. With Dave Chappelle, I feel like I have the same perspective and kind of like wittiness as him, and how he's able to shed truth through his work, through his comedic work. He's always able to shed truth. With Toni Morrison, I have that deep, intuitive thinking, and being able to write and share my perspective in a un basically like in a uncategorized way. I don't feel boxed in with what I write about and I feel passionate about. And then with Ryan Coogler, just being able to see a director who is very similar as me as far as his upbringing, and seeing him rise from that and to be doing amazing productions for Marvel and all these different things, and having that perspective with his storytelling in films, that's the same approach that I have. So those are the three people I feel are able to really impact me.
What would you say your favorite film is? I know you a filmmaker, so you gotta have a favorite film.
So I'm gonna give two answers to that question with what's my favorite film. My favorite film is, which is I always it changes day to day, but today my favorite film is actually Scarface. Believe it or not, because I view Scarface as like there's two movies in one movie. With Scarface, you have the first half, which is when he's on the rise and he's believing in himself and he's getting to the top of his industry, which unfortunately it wasn't a great industry, but the top of his industry, and you see what it took for him to get there, which is a very loving story that everybody can relate to. And then you see the second half where you have that downfall of if you're not able to manage and control, yourself personally, you can see where that can lead you to. So that's why I feel like Scarface has a lot of deep messages beyond like the general scope of what the movie's about. So that's why it's definitely one of my favorite movies. But the movie that actually made me really commit to wanting to be a filmmaker and a writer and things of that nature is Moonlight, which was the first black uh, film to win an Oscar in 2016, directed by Barry Jenkins. Watching that film at that age was the first time when I realized that our perspective in the industry matters, because that was such a deep film, that a lot of people in the black community, we kind of like we hear these stories like this is stuff we kind of know about, and so to see that portrayed at the biggest stage and literally at the biggest stage of that industry win the movie of the year, the film of the year, like that's what sparked in me that like, okay, I can actually do this.
So what would you say your biggest goal in filmmaking is? You name some of your favorite films, some of your biggest inspirations. How do you plan on taking all of that and putting it into The Man Stand Before Us as Greg Hurt and putting that into your work?
Man, I feel like with me and with what I do, what I want to do with storytelling. Hold up, re-ask that. That was kind of deep.
In more simple terms, how do you take all of your influences and inspirations and put them into the man that you are today and the filmmaker that you're trying to become?
Right. So with everything that I've watched and gained an influence from, I take bits and pieces of everything. I take bits and pieces of all these pieces of content and all these directors and all these writers and all these storytellers, and I usually take the perspective that represents me the most. So really with everything that I've learned about and everything that I've watched throughout the years, I just like to take that into my own perspective and figure out how I can do it myself and how I can do it in my way, that can create a different perspective that a lot of people aren't able to view. So that's really how I plan on embodying that going forward. It's just everything that I've learned, everything that I've studied, just using that, taking bits and pieces of that, and putting it out in a way that represents me. And I feel like that's an art that not a lot of people are able to realize nowadays, because of the influences of like social media and everything like that. So I just, make sure that I do everything that represents me.
If you could talk to that shy kid that you once were,
Man, yeah.
what would you tell him?
I would tell him that you're right. That's all I would say. I would say you're right. Like, you're right. Like, everything that you're thinking, you're right. Because as a kid, I had a lot of, I always knew that I wanted to do something that would change the world and have an impact. And I always knew that I had talents and gifts, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. When you're young, you don't have that confidence in yourself. So what I would tell that, like 10-year-old kid, even 16-year-old, I would say, you're right. Like, everything that you're thinking, like, you're right, bro. Just believe in it and go from there and have faith and let that take you to wherever you need to go. That's all you need to do. You don't need to worry about anything else. You're right.
If you could tell a young filmmaker who is looking up to you right now, not the 10-year-old Greg, but say 10-year-old Greg had a friend who was interested in film. They looking at you right now, and they asked you, "Hey Greg, I wanted to get into filmmaking one day. Do you have any advice for me?" What would you tell them?
Man, my advice to a young filmmaker, it would be to stay committed and stay true to yourself. Don't feel like you need to make your art and your writing like anybody else. You don't need to do that at all. That's actually the opposite of what you need to do. What you need to do is learn about yourself and learn about your view on the world and how you portray it, and do it that way, because that's the thing that separates you from everybody else. Drake had a line in one of his songs. He said, "I'm transitioning in from fitting in to standing out." You can't get nowhere when you're trying to fit in, and you'll have that transition where you want to fit in because that's the popular thing to do. So you'll have that phase. But once you get to that phase, realize that fitting in is not going to make you stand out and make you get to a point where you'll be that like impactful storyteller filmmaker. So just be true to you.
That is awesome. Great advice and a great story. And we wish you the best of success with everything that you plan on being in this life. Thank you, Greg.
I appreciate it, man. Let's do it. Let's keep growing. Media runs the world. It's about you, and it's about us. In recent years, there's been a tremendous rise in the demand for content, and this, of course, ranges from streaming platforms all the way down to social media platforms. More Than Productions is a media production company that is just that. It's more than. It's more than our content. It's more than just a story. It's about making your vision come to fruition. We offer business solutions for content production and advertising by creating marketing campaigns and one-time service sales. We provide an opportunity for freelancers and creators to produce their own original content, and we even help individuals relive important moments in their lives like they never had before with coverages and recap videos. We use state-of-the-art industry equipment in our production studio to create compelling content for others. We bring high-quality production and expertise to our circle, and we even utilize our high-level resources to put your creativity on screen. In just over a year in business, We've expanded our services from the Midwest to the West, down South, and even to parts of Canada. We've worked with major corporations, including the Maple Leaf Sports Agency, Sony Music Group, and others, to bring original content for their respective companies and their clients. We've been able to accomplish high-quality creations with budgets ranging from $5,000 to $30,000 with proper management throughout. We are passionate individuals who are always looking to put our collaborators first. And in the end, investing in media isn't just a chance for you to create your own path. You'll also be able to open up doors for more voices to be heard, listened to, and most importantly, be understood. And it's more than our productions. It's about us.